How's it going, Star Seekers? Hope you're all doing okay on this fine day, where it's once again time for another deals video, where I take a look at 5 games that caught my eye on the Nintendo eShop this week, all priced under £1 euro, and attempt to answer that all important question, are they worth a quid? Now this week's been a bit of a mixed bag, and I've sort of cheated a little as there's a couple of the games that are slightly over budget, and I've tweaked the format a little, making this roundup of deals shorter, but I've also produced reviews for each game containing more details, and these are linked in the description box below and at the end of this video. So with that said, don't forget to subscribe to be notified of future deals videos, and let's get into this week's list. So let's first kick things off with 2 games that I think you should certainly avoid. First up we have Super Loop Drive, a game that's well known by anyone who's been watching the channel for a while. Gameplay involves you driving around a loop, collecting coins whilst trying to avoid other cars driving around the adjacent loop. And that's it, there's no further explanation needed. Coins take forever to collect, cars that you unlock with them all drive the same, and unless you're extremely bored or just enjoy torturing yourself with monotonous gameplay, I'd give this one a miss. Game number 2 is called The Bullet Time of Revenge, a notorious asset flip game which has been floating around the internet for years but somehow managed to sneak its way onto the Switch. Gameplay sees you shooting your way through various enemies, driving tanks and piloting helicopters, which sounds better than it is, but I implore you not to buy this buggy mess or support the game's developers, if you can even call them that, Art Game Studio, who have a habit of producing games by buying Unity assets with zero creative input on their part. Now with those 2 out the way, let's get on to this week's deals. First up, we have a racing game called Real Drift Racing, which sees you taking to the track with various cars, attempting to drift them around corners to earn as many points as possible. Now while the game doesn't look all that bad, controls in it are a real pain as the drift mechanics aren't great, and it's a struggle just trying to keep your car on the track. Spinning out or hitting a wall wipes out any points you would have earned from a drift, and I got real bored real quick as none of the starter cars handled very well. Now you can use the currency you earn in game to unlock additional cars and upgrade various parts of them, such as the engine, transmission and wheel camber, but after upgrading the power on my car I found it skidded round like it was on ice due to it having too much torque. Now in addition to the game's championship mode, which has 7 stages each containing a number of different tracks, and quick race mode which allows you to play any of these tracks at your leisure, the game also includes a split screen local versus mode for up to 2 players, which could offer some fun providing either of you are able to stay on the track long enough to enjoy the game. As for whether I think the game's worth a quid, I'm going to say no on this one. I personally found it too much of an effort just to control the cars, and there are more refined racing games to spend your money on. The sale date on Real Drift Racing ends on the 4th of October in the US and the 28th of September in the UK and EU. Next up, we have a rather unusual title that isn't going to be for everyone. A Dark Room is a text-based adventure game where you develop a settlement by gathering resources. These enable you to construct various buildings, including huts to attract villagers, a tannery and smokehouse to cure meat and create leather, and a trade post to trade different resources and acquire a compass, which then enables you to venture out of your settlement in search of answers. Now the wilderness is a hostile environment filled with enemies to fight, but you can gather new materials out there to expand your building options and allow you to create new equipment to increase your chance of survival. The game also features a number of different events which occur at random to keep you on your toes. Now I've always been a fan of text-based adventures ever since playing games like Zork, and A Dark Room is definitely one to pick up if you've been looking for a decent one on the Switch or just something a little different to play. The game's definitely worth a quid and gets a thumbs up from me, and I recommend you try it out. The sale date on A Dark Room ends on the 1st of October in all regions. Game number 3 is a relatively new game which isn't on sale but is within budget. Valentina is a Brazilian-made pixel art platformer game where you play as Valentina, a bow-wielding girl who's destined to end the War of 4 Kingdoms, defeat the Empire of Darkness and unite the kingdoms for good. So I'll say right away, Valentina really isn't a great platformer, and you'd be pushed to even call it a good one. Its awful mixture of 8 and 16-bit pixel art make it visually unappealing, platforming controls are okay but jumping feels floaty, and combat is pretty dull, with enemies rarely posing any threat or challenge whatsoever. Now the first level in the game takes about an hour to complete and sees you trekking through countless screens of greenery or caves with dancing skeletons, and the boss at the end of the level doesn't even bother to put up a fight. If you're looking for a decent platformer, I'd advise looking elsewhere, and unfortunately Valentina gets a thumbs down from me. Our penultimate game is undoubtedly the best in terms of visuals. Chicken Assassin Reloaded is advertised as a fast-paced action RPG featuring strategic button mashing, though in truth it's more of a glorified clicker game. We play as a beast of a chicken called Mean McAllister, who has to fight his way through endless waves of enemies as he attempts to rescue his one true love, Candy, who has been kidnapped by the evil Dr. Spritzel. Combat in the game sees you moving your on-screen cursor over enemies who come in waves from either side of the screen, and then mashing your attack button to kill them as fast as possible, which can really start to take a toll on your thumb. Despite it being a clicker game though, Chicken Assassin does offer plenty of features such as multiple upgradable skills, tons of equipable items obtained by killing enemies and bosses, and a bunch of different costumes to unlock, enabling you to customise McAllister's appearance. As to whether it's worth a quid, I'm gonna say yes on this one. Gameplay is simple, but it keeps you clicking with its awesome visuals and various RPG-like mechanics. The sale date on Chicken Assassin Reloaded ends on the 25th of September in all regions. Our final game is possibly one that's aimed more towards those of you who have kids. Draw a Stick Man Epic 2 is a puzzle adventure game which sees you creating your own hero and villain before diving into a magical book and attempting to restore its pages by utilising various pencils to solve puzzles and help save residents of a small town. Each pencil you acquire in the game has a different use. From the leaf pencil, which causes leaves to sprout from dead trees, destroying nearby dangerous purple goo and monsters, to the ice pen, which freezes water and enemies, and wire pen, which allows you to power equipment by linking them to batteries. Now there's some decent variety to the game's levels, and younger gamers shouldn't find its puzzle elements overly challenging. The game features both analog and touchscreen controls, and in addition to the main storyline there's a game mode called Drawn Below, whose events take place after the main game, and gameplay takes on more of a Metroidvania format as you move between rooms in a castle recovering your lost pencils. I have to admit that I actually had fun playing the game, so Draw a Stick Man Epic 2 gets a definite thumbs up from me, and it's definitely one to consider if you're looking for a simple and enjoyable puzzle game or have kids who regularly play games on your Switch. The sale date on Draw a Stick Man Epic 2 ends on the 27th of September in all regions. And that just about wraps up this week's deals video. Hit that like button if it helped you out, and let me know in the comments section below whether you're going to be picking any of the featured games up. Don't forget to check out the mini reviews of the games for a more in-depth look at them, and subscribe to the channel to be notified of future Nintendo Switch deals and review videos. For now though, I just want to thank you all once again for watching, and until next time, game on.